I am my father's daughter. This narrative, edged from the memories of a daughter, is a homage to my father, a figure who departed from this world when I was entering my 20s. The details of his life, some clear and some faded, are recalled here not merely as events, but as the essence of his being. In the stories we remember, we find facts and the truth as we feel it. I was a young servicewoman in the United States Air Force when an early morning call from the San Jose hospital broke the calm of my life. The voice on the other end spoke of a car accident involving my father. My heart raced with fear, not just for his safety, but haunted by the thought that his years of drunk driving might have finally led to the tragic culmination. Rushing to the hospital, I was engulfed in a storm of emotions. There he lay, a fragile figure among the sea of machines, his face barely visible. It was a sight that tugged at my heartstrings, stirring a whirlpool of feelings within me. The nurse's words were a stark call to reality. Gather the family. He won't make it. The enormity of the task lay before me, over 50 relatives, including my 5 sisters and our mother. My fortitude faltered, but a close friend at the time, older and wiser, stepped in to shoulder this burden, his kindness a calm to my chaotic soul. As I sat in the waiting room, lost in thoughts, the nurse handed me a paper bag, the remnants of my father's life in it, an old broken watch, in his wallet, silent testimonies of the day's grim events. In his wallet, he had a small picture of the Virgin Mary and a phone number of my younger sister. The unfolding truth was more heart-wrenching than I had embraced myself for. My father, the victim of his own tragic decision, had jumped in front of a car, ending his life in a moment of desperation. This revelation, which I later confirmed through the coroner's report, was a hidden chapter from the rest of the family. It's strange how within one family, realities can diverge so far from the truth. My father's battle with alcohol was no secret to me, but the extent of his addiction was veiled until then. He had raised me to be resilient and shun the vices he succumbed to. A tomboy at heart, he taught me to drive when I was 14, and I often found myself steering the wheel when his intoxication rendered him incapable. Among my sisters, I was the one he leaned on, his beacon in the fog of his struggles. Children of alcoholics often find themselves prematurely donning the cloak of adulthood. I became the guardian, the savior, the helper. This role, embraced out of necessity, later manifested in an internal battle with PTSD and anxiety, unknown companions until my 30s. My father's passing marked the end of my survival mode, but it also left me with an unfamiliar task, learning to live truly. I had never had a moment of not surviving. All I had done up to that point was to survive. Living was unknown to me. Even amid turmoil, the love of my father remained an unwavering presence. The rare times he was sober, he would show me immense love, make me laugh, or take me and my sisters to the mall, giving us enough money to buy a small trinket or two, but not enough for us to feel like we could afford anything. I didn't care that we couldn't afford anything. I only cared that my dad had taken us to the mall and that we got to hang out with him, and that was enough for me. It was more than words could express, a profound feeling etched in the very marrow of my bones. This love served as my armor, keeping me intact when the world around me seemed to be falling apart. While in the military, I encountered a different kind of love, a young man whose deep affection became the anchor of my existence. Though our paths were never meant to merge, this love became fuel for my life's journey. Having known the unwavering love of my father, I could recognize and embrace the possibility of being loved by another soul. This understanding is often a rare treasure for those of us who grow up in the shadows of alcoholism and chaotic homes. My father, in his relentless battle with his demons, was a portrait of responsibility and hard work, but also self and personal neglect. He endured physical pain, at one point even working with a broken finger, to teach us the value of perseverance and never missing a day of work. My father would make David Goggins look like a wimp. Summer days spent picking strawberries and tending to chores were his way of instilling in us the importance of hard work, a lesson that resonates with me today. His life, though flawed by struggle and pain, was also a journey of love and sacrifice. It was only years after his passing, through a DNA test, that I uncovered another layer of his story. A child left behind in Mexico. This secret, a burden he carried silently, painted a fuller picture of the man he was. I now understood why he carried so much pain in his heart, why he felt so trapped and caged in a life he did not want to live. Perhaps it was guilt or the pain of leaving a child behind that drove him to drink so much. I'll never know, but one thing I know for sure. Now that I am a parent myself, leaving a child behind and abandoning a loved one is too hard of a burden to carry. No human soul should ever have to go through that. In the days following his death, my dreams became a nightly meeting with him. I would rush home from work so I could begin my dream state and meet him at the mall, where both of us would discuss how I would tell no one we were hanging out at the jewelry section at the mall, just father and daughter, a surreal space where he shared the moments we missed in life. These dreams, reoccurring and comforting, ceased only when I finally processed his death a year later. Reflecting on his life, I see parallels with my own. I don't believe in mere coincidences. There's a greater force at play. My father's story, riddled with challenges, was fundamentally about love. A love that transcended his flaws, a love that he instilled in me against all odds. Hundreds at his funeral bore witness to the lives he touched. In my heart, I know his story is not just of a troubled man, but of someone who loved deeply. In his imperfect, turbulent journey, he taught me the most profound truth. That love is the most resounding, most enduring force there is. And in this truth, I find the essence of my father's legacy.